Chicago fans thought the Michael Jordan story was over in November when he raised 23 to the rafters, but now he's back at the United Center with a new number and a new enthusiasm playing beneath the retired 23. Tonight, Game 3 in the Eastern Conference first-round playoff series between the Chicago Bulls and the Charlotte Hornets. The Bulls in overtime got Game 1, but then lost by 17 in Game 2 to bring the series back to Chicago, tied at 1 game apiece. And after Game 1, a lot of people thought Charlotte wouldn't be able to come up with any answers, but Alan Bristow came up with an answer that worked in Game 2, and it's called the big lineup.
Bob, he's made a commitment. If he's going to beat Chicago, he's going to go with a big lineup, and he says, we're going to pound you inside, we're going to make your perimeter people try to beat us, and we're going to take away your inside game. Now, how do you keep a big lineup on the floor against speed and quickness? You have to control some areas of the floor. And we'll look at statistics and what they've been able to do. First of all, they're getting almost 18 offensive rebounds a game. They're only turning the ball over less than 11 times. They're getting to the free throw line 31 times a game. So the game has become a half-court game. They're shooting free throws. They're banging the offensive boards. Chicago can't get out and run and use their quickness.
Well, we said Chicago's Michael Jordan is back with a new enthusiasm. 40 points, 8 rebounds, 7.5 assists. However, he's not getting much help, Doug.
Well, the concern for Chicago is if Michael has to do it all, what's going to happen in a close game if maybe he goes a little bit cold? And so what they've done is they're going to make a commitment tonight, I think, especially a Scottie Pippen and a Tony Kukoc, to get involved early. The so-called supporting cast numbers are way down in this series. Pippen, 8 less a game. Kukoc, 3. On down, you see 5 of the top 6 players for Chicago, 22 points under their average. Michael taking almost 29 shots a game.
Now, speaking of Michael, in game number 1, Hersey Hawkins had a nightmare trying to stop Michael. 2 early fouls. Game 2, Hawkins did a little bit better job. How about that matchup tonight?
Well, I think what Charlotte found out, in game 1, they allowed Hersey Hawkins to feed the ball into the post. Michael Jordan didn't leave him. Hersey Hawkins got no movement. Michael could rest on defense. In game 2, every third or fourth play, they said, we're going to run Michael off 2-3 screens. Even if Hawkins doesn't get the ball, he's going to use up some energy. In the second half of game 2, Michael and Scottie's shot suffered, and Charlotte took over the game.
Well, everybody here at the United Center wonders how Michael is going to like this building now in the playoffs. He's been a little uncomfortable. It has not been a real sweet home. But as you can see here from Tommy McCracken's Blues Band, all the fans and the Jordan teammates hope it'll be sweet home, Chicago.
Baby, don't you wanna go? Come on, baby, don't you wanna go to the same old place, sweet home, Chicago.
Starting matchups tonight, note that Luke Longley is replacing Will Perdue as the starting center for Chicago.
Well, I think that Chicago's wanting to get a little bit more of a physical presence in the game against Alonzo Mourning, and I think they'd like to get off to a good start defensively, especially on the boards. And Longley, a little bit better offensive player. Maybe they can get Mourning to pick up a couple fouls.
Well, those are the starting matchups. Larry Johnson's been playing well. He's part of that big lineup that's worked so well. Kukoc has been off during these playoffs. He has not found a comfort zone. Hersey Hawkins' big job. There's Scottie Pippen. His numbers are down. And Michael Jordan wearing number 45. Paired up there beside number 3 Hawkins. That'll be an early matchup that Doug was talking about to see how they do. The 7'2" Luke Longley will jump at center against Alonzo Mourning. It's underway. B.J. Armstrong and Jordan are the guards for Chicago.
Well, you can see Muggsy Bogues really trying to pressure B.J. Armstrong early in this game. If they can pressure them out of their offense, it forces Michael and Scottie to play more one-on-one.
Pippen going to the hoop early and scoring from Kukoc. Muggsy Bogues applying pressure to the hoop. Somebody got a piece of it. B.J. Armstrong. Kukoc on his left. Pippen over on his right. Bogues right in his face. Armstrong Good look at the basket. Pippen knocked into the very expensive seats, and the foul is going to be on the Charlotte Hornets.
You can see the first possession of the game for Chicago. Scottie Pippen very aggressive. B.J. Armstrong very aggressive offensively. And then defensively, B.J. Armstrong up the floor, pressuring Muggsy Bogues, trying to get him to go at a faster pace, maybe increase the tempo of this game. He got him into an early quick shot.
Post up for Jordan. Quick turnaround move. He stepped on the baseline. By the way, the personal foul was on David Wingate. 2-0 Bulls. 11:15 to go. Opening moments, first quarter from the United Center in Chicago. Bob Neal, Doug Collins with you. Game 3, Eastern Conference first round, Chicago and Charlotte.
You know, Bob, when you look at the numbers in the first two ball games, Charlotte, other than the 5 minutes of overtime, feel like they have outplayed Chicago.
Pippen went for the steal.
They feel they're the better team.
Armstrong on the break. Tough to get a fast break going these days. A 3. Jordan rims it out of there. Morning rebound.
I'm sure Michael would love for that first shot to go. Craig Sanger's already documented his woes in here shooting in the new building. Sometimes you like to get that first one to go down for you.
Down 10 points a game per average, 31-21 at home and on the road for Michael since his return in the regular season, his first postseason game back. Larry Johnson's turnaround goes down, and we're tied at 2.
You can already see Charlotte's game plan. Percy Hawkins coming off the screen, dropping the ball into Larry Johnson. If you don't get the quick double team, he's going to power the ball inside.
Scottie Pippen defended by Wingate. Offensive foul on Pippen. That's one early. Remember, in game number 1, Pippen got into foul trouble early and was really a non-factor.
David Wingate is exceptionally quick, and he is as quick as Scottie Pippen, but at 6'4", Scottie's bigger. Tried to get inside, but Wingate did a nice job here. He kept his ground, kept his shoulders parallel. That's a good call. That's 2 turnovers now for Chicago.
Muggsy Bogues, 5 feet 3 inches tall.
Percy Hawkins, the last 2 possessions, has handled the ball twice coming off screens, making Jordan work.
3 on the shot clock. Morning misses it, tipped out of there by Kukoc, saved by Pippen. To Michael. Back to Pippen. Kukoc.
That's why you've got a defensive rebound. If you'll rebound, you'll get those opportunities, maybe force that big lineup off the floor.
4-2 Chicago, trying to post up Larry Johnson against Kukoc. That's a 3. Kukoc tipped it to B.J. Armstrong.
Percy Hawkins never got his feet square on that one. His shot a little quick.
Jordan isolated against Hawkins. Early foul. There you go. That's one. Hand check. This is what happened with Hawkins once again in game number 1 on these one-on-one isolations.
Well, they want to double team Michael, but not this far out on the floor. If he gets closer to the post, you'll see the big double team. Out on the floor, they're going to play him up single and force him to make jump shots, try to keep him off the free throw line.
They're going to try it on the right side of the lane now, posting up again against Hawkins.
Illegal defense.
You see Scottie Pippen way over there in the upper left-hand corner of your picture. Mike Mathis calling the violation. There's Alan Bristow.
It's actually on Alonzo Mourning. You'll see his man pull out. See where Mourning is? He's illegal right now.
Kukoc with the drive and the kick out. Longley from the baseline. The Bulls have a 6-2 lead.
And all the 6 points have been scored by people other than Michael Jordan. 2 Pippen, 2 for Kukoc, 2 for Longley. That's a good sign.
We'll talk about that supporting cast. Everybody's numbers are down. Longley starting in place of Will Perdue tonight against Alonzo Mourning. This is David Wingate. That's a 3. It's a 1-point Bulls lead.
He had some big shots in game 1 and then didn't play a whole lot. Alan Bristow went with the big lineup, and David Wingate was the odd man out.
Posting Longley. Turnaround jumper doesn't fall. There's Jordan. He's averaging 8 boards a game. Pippen on the drive to Michael inside the paint. Michael's first basket from 8 feet away. It is 8-5 Chicago.
Those offensive rebounds, second shot opportunities, that's been Charlotte's statistic in this series. You can already see the Bulls much more aggressive on their home floor going to the board.
Muggsy Bogues gets it to Wingate, looking for Larry Johnson.
He's tipping way off in the passing lane.
5 seconds to shoot. Double team. 3 seconds. Wingate left alone. He He's 2 for 2 from the perimeter.
When he makes that shot, he is a very, very important part of their offense because he's a good defender, and if he'll make the open shots, he can stay on the floor.
Michael Jordan posting again against Hawkins. There's that same shot he hit before.
Burned me once.
My fault, your fault, burned me twice, my fault.
That's correct, and I think that Alan Bristow was saying, guys, we got to go back and double team on that when we want Michael to get that kind of opportunity in the lane. That's too easy.
Alonzo Mourning, first time with the ball down in the post on a post-up. The double team comes, and we have an offensive foul called against Mourning.
When you get the double team and you're a big guy, rather than try to split it, move the ball with the pass and then cut right out of the double team. See, if he would give that ball up and then cut right out of it, maybe he'll get it back, because a lot of times, Bob, a guy relaxes once you give the ball up.
Pippen. Again, the height advantage on Wingate, but Wingate, one of the best defensive players. There's Jordan again. Double clutch. Doesn't fall. Rebound, Larry Johnson.
Alonzo Mourning from behind.
Pippen with the steal off Mike Mathis. Jordan diving for the ball.
Over and
Pippen,
back.
but he went over and back.
That's a good call. Michael doesn't like it, but it's a good call. He got the ball, Bob, and slid into the back court. That's a good call.
Chicago Bulls with a timeout. Our officials, by the way, Mike Mathis, Steve Javy, and Terry Durham here tonight. 6:57 to go, quarter number 1. Bulls up by 3.
Good start.
It was at the old Chicago Stadium, affectionately known as the Madhouse in Madison, where Michael Jordan first earned his NBA reputation. Built in 1929, it is literally being torn down as we speak. Although it was a wonderful arena in which to showcase your talents, with no elevators, no escalators, and only 16 restrooms, it was severely outdated. We will never say goodbye to the memories. The Bulls only hope that they can add to those memories and winning seasons across the street at the new United Center, affectionately known as the house that Jordan built.
Thanks, Craig. It's the house that Jordan's not been comfortable in shooting the basketball. He is 2 for 3 tonight, however. Chicago leading 10-7. All 5 Chicago assists by the 2 forwards, Pippen and Kukoc. And by the way, Pippen led the league in forward assists at number 1. Grant Hill, Doug Collins, was number 2, and Kukoc number 3. I point that out to you.
Yes, well, hopefully he'll be number 1 next year. So.
Bogues pulls up, left alone from 15, Muggsy Bogues. Nobody near him that time. 1 point Bulls lead. I have quite a few thoughts on the Detroit Pistons that I'll pass along to you. I know nobody's giving you much advice yet.
I can use it all, Bob. Trust me.
There's the foul on the pass. It's on Muggsy Bogues, his first.
Now, you'd have to think if you're Charlotte, you're pretty happy with the start of this game. We played almost 6 minutes. The tempo was good. You've taken the emotional charge of this crowd, and you stayed right in the ball game. So if I'm Alan Bristow, I'm pretty happy with my start.
Pippen backing in on Wingate. There's the double team. It's too late.
Mourning got a piece of it, and it goes in anyway. Pippen with 4 points, Jordan with 4. The only Chicago starter not to score so far is B.J. Armstrong.
Screen roll once again. They're going to go back to the play that worked before.
Wingate was alone. There's the drive. Goes to the left hand. Rebound, Larry Johnson. Offensive board.
That's right. That's what you got to be concerned about, because it allows you to control the clock. It gives you another shot. Wingate got to read that Pippen is way off in the passing lane.
Kukoc, finger roll, left alone. The lane unprotected. Tony Kukoc, the Croatian sensation. They used to call him the waiter because he was served up the ball so well.
Well, they call Scotty that now because he has 4 assists here in the first quarter.
14-9, 5:38 to go in the first quarter. Chicago with the Pippen steal and the Kukoc drive.
And we've seen now Chicago with 3 fast break opportunities in this first quarter, 2 off rebounds and 1 off the steal. So that's 2 of the statistics that we talked about: turnovers, offensive rebounding.
Longley trying to play Mourning one-on-one. That'll be 2 quick ones on Luke Longley. He picked up the foul previously just moments ago.
I think Alonzo Mourning has to do more of that. Catch the ball and go quickly with it before the double gets there. See, he catches it, looks, there's no double team. Longley with the second foul. Now Will Purdue is into the ball game.
Longley will sit down with 2 fouls, but remember the Bulls have a total of 18 to use among their 3 centers. Purdue's numbers have been down during the playoffs.
Purdue's numbers are down on an average of 5 points a game. He had a good regular season.
Well, he averages a little over 5 rebounds in 18 minutes, which is pretty good because Longley's getting 5 rebounds in 31 minutes.
Let's see how Purdue does this morning. Kicks it out. Wingate's open. A swipe by Pippen, and he's alone at the other end, but Wingate recovered very quickly. Pippen posted. Not very good spacing, but they get it to him anyway. Larry Johnson strips it on the double team. Close. Wingate. Warning.
You can really see the Bulls' strategy in this first quarter. They're really posting Pippen against Wingate and Jordan against Hawkins. Watch, they're going to come right back now with Michael in the low post. This is really their primary offense right now.
Bad pass from Jordan. Kukoc stole that midnight pass. And he lays it in. Tony Kukoc definitely playing his best offensive basketball of this series.
With 3 for 3, he's got 2 layups and a little jump hook, so he's getting very good shots.
5-point Bulls lead. Hawkins going to try to make Jordan work. Let him off a screen of Mourning.
Smart play right there. So you make Michael work. I've said all along, and I said it before, Michael Jordan, when he was playing the game, was the best defensive guard in the game. Probably the best defender in the game. But I think you cannot let his reputation beat you. You've got to go at him every night and make Michael work. Make him burn up energy. Hit him with a pick right here. Make him fight through. Keep him occupied. And Hersey Hawkins, if he will do that, maybe can take some of the starch out of Michael so at the finish his shot won't be there for him.
3-point opportunity there. The foul is on Will Purdue. It's a 2-point Bulls lead. 4:16 to go in the quarter. The no-look pass, and Purdue loses it out of bounds. Crowd wanted a foul. Call wasn't coming. We've been calling Will the Rodney Dangerfield of Chicago centers. Chicago with 5 turnovers early.
Here comes Hawkins again, once off a pick, and he's going to be the inbound, or the guy that will drop the ball into Larry Johnson in the post.
That was Jordan who tipped the ball out of bounds with 7 on the clock, and it belonged to the Hornets.
See, I think when Hersey Hawkins drops the ball in the post, rather than stand, he allows Michael to really go back and then recover. Maybe cut him through or get him to the weak side of the floor. Make Michael Jordan get out of that area.
Charlotte, timeout.
Bob, let's talk a little bit about Hersey Hawkins is going to drop the ball into the post, and let's watch what he does here. He's going to stand. So he's going to stand. Now watch, this enables Michael Jordan to go back and attack the post player. I think Hersey Hawkins has to move to an open area, so when Michael goes back, he doesn't know where Hersey Hawkins is, and maybe you can get the ball back outside to him for an open shot.
Michael knocks it out of bounds, and Charlotte will inbound after their timeout with only 7 seconds on the game clock, on the shot clock here. Now down to 4. Larry Johnson, defended by Kukoc. And that's a tough job for Kukoc.
That was too easy. Tony let him roll right off of him. I don't know if they were going to try to run a man in behind him. No one got there. That was an awfully easy field goal with the shot clock working against you.
Charlotte is tied at 16. Pippen into Purdue. And Will Purdue spins it home. Everybody who's played so far has scored except for B.J. Armstrong.
Well, they're not going to give B.J. and Steve Kerr any good shots at the basket. They're going to try to totally limit those guys' spot-up shots.
Pippen has 5 assists already, Doug. Here's Hersey Hawkins now running Jordan again into the morning screen. Open man is Wingate, and is he open? Wingate's been dropping them down from there, too.
Well, you know what? Bill Jackson is saying, you know, we don't think David Wingate's going to beat us out there. There's going to be a block on Wingate. But he says, we don't believe that David Wingate is going to be able to beat us for 48 minutes. We want to take Mourning out of the game and Larry Johnson. But right now, Wingate making the open shot. Judd Bushler into the game for Tony Kukoc. That's for defensive purposes, to give Larry Johnson a little bit different look.
And Robert Parrish, who will be 42 years old in August, comes into the ball game. And Charlotte has now become big, as they like to say. Johnson, Parrish, and Mourning with Hawkins and Bogues.
Well, see, now look at the chess match. Parrish on Purdue, Hawkins on Jordan. But look, Larry Johnson goes over to play Pippen. Now Mourning playing Judd Bushler. Let's see if Bushler will play Alonzo Mourning.
Screen and roll with Purdue and Pippen. Pippen on the penetration. Bounce pass into Bushler. Out of bounds off Chicago. That's the 6th Chicago turnover here in the first quarter.
Charlotte's done a nice job. They have funneled people away from the basket, other than maybe a 3 layups they've given up because of the transition opportunities. They're making Chicago work in the half court.
Hawkins, as you pointed out in the open, touching the ball a lot. Off the hands of moving Chicago ball.
See, I think it's very difficult to enter the ball through Michael Jordan because he gets back in the passing lane and makes it very difficult to see the post.
Jordan has 4 points early. Went to the left hand.
Alonzo Mourning chased him off that shot. Now Larry Johnson's going to get a fast break. They're going to call a block on Pippen. That'll be number 2.
Yes, early foul trouble first quarter. Scottie Pippen.
Also.
And a technical has been called on Pippen.
See, that's one of those fouls that changes a game. It's going to be the second on Pippen. Scottie gets back. That's close.
Yeah.
That's close. The question is he underneath the basket? If his head is under the rim, it's a no call or a block. That's a very difficult call to make. I've always felt that that's the toughest call for a referee to make, is that block charge, because these players are so quick. And a lot of it is, if you take off and you're in the air, and I haven't got there yet, when I make contact with you, it might look like you're there, but when I have taken off, you are not in that space. And Bob, that's the way that call is officiated. It's not where you are, it's where you are when I take off.
Pippen sits down. This is the first time Charlotte has led in this game. Kukoc back on the floor as Pippen sits down. So it's Kukoc, Bushler, Perdue, Armstrong, and Jordan for Chicago. Larry Johnson, 4 points early. Wingate leading all scorers with 7. 2 points. Charlotte lead. 2:09 to go. First quarter. The Bulls led 16-11. That's their biggest. This is the first Charlotte lead. Kukoc alone from 18. He's feeling it tonight. 8 points for Kukoc.
Now we got to look at that matchup. You got Alonzo Mourning against Kukoc. Will Perdue playing Mourning. I think they got to go to Larry Johnson against Bushler, and then get the double team, and then bring somebody up to the jumper.
There it is. The double team from Jordan. Mourning tried to score off the pass. Kukoc runs it down. Great ball handler for a man 6'10".
See, Alonzo Mourning had the open shot, tried to get closer to the basket, made it a much more difficult shot.
Will Perdue with the offensive rebound off the Jordan miss. 4 early points for Perdue. Good at going to the offensive boards, particularly in the regular season.
Well, anytime you play with Michael Jordan, you've got to go to the offensive boards because he's bringing 2 or 3 guys with him to block shots. If I notice a big difference in Michael's game right now from when he first played and where he's been out, is he doesn't quite finish as well right now. I don't think he completely has his legs.
Mourning's shot rims out of there, and we've got a loose ball foul.
And, you know, Michael not having his legs is a major part of his game finishing, but still, he plays much higher in the air than most anybody else in his game, so it's all relative.
Bushler picks up the personal, and they're in the penalty with 59 seconds. Took a long time. Johnson shooting the free throws, 86% in the playoffs.
Boy, he's really pulling the string on that free throw. It's almost like he's begging that ball to go in.
He's 2 out of 3 from the line there tonight. Grandmama.
Larry Johnson's done a lot of battling back from injuries. A lot of people felt like he may never play again. He had a severe back problem. Then last year, he had a stress reaction in his foot. A lot of people felt he wasn't going to be able to play through that. Or maybe that was even this year, that early in the year they thought he had a broken foot.
Under a minute. Tied at 22. There's vintage Michael Jordan. He finishes this time. Michael has 6. He's 3-4-7. Remember, in the regular season, he averaged 21 points a game in this building, 31 points on the road. He has not been comfortable at the United Center.
Well, he's not made a jump shot in this game. He's had 2 post-ups and a finger roll. Swing it, Alonzo. You got an open man.
Bugsy Bogue cannot penetrate. Into the woods. 2 seconds. 1 second. That would have been a shot clock violation. Perdue with the rebound. Out to Jordan. 17 seconds behind the back. He couldn't handle it. It's still worth the price of admission.
When Michael takes off on the fast break, the expectation in these fans, you can hear the air being sucked out of the building, waiting for something spectacular to happen.
The wraparound goes out of bounds, and it'll be Charlotte ball. They'll have 14.6 seconds remaining in the period to get a shot off, down 2.
Now, Larry Johnson likes to isolate. See if they run and double team him. And again, Muggsy Bogues will probably be the guy that will have to take the shot. I don't think they're going to let him isolate and go one-on-one.
They kick it out to Curry. Curry just inside the line. Wennington gets the rebound. Wennington came in at that timeout, and what a wise substitution that was by Phil Jackson. So the Bulls hold on for a 2-point lead at the end of one. Jordan with 6, Kukoc with 8. Sweet home Chicago, the Chicago Rivers, the Marina City Towers, and the Bulls have a 24-22 lead over Charlotte, ready to get started with the second period of play. And Doug, you're keeping track of the keys to Charlotte and their big lineup.
Well, we got to give Marty Aronoff the credit. He's the numbers cruncher here, but Charlotte's out 6 free throws in the first half. The first quarter made 5. Chicago attempted none, so they're on pace for 24. Remember, in the first 2 games, they shot 31. Offensive rebounds, only 2 for Charlotte. That would average out to 8 a game. Remember, almost 18 a game in the first 2. And turnovers, they had 4, which would lead to 16. They've been averaging under 11. So those numbers say Chicago is doing a much better job in all 3 areas.
Steve Kerr into the game. He's defending Del Curry for Chicago. Kerr, number 25. Larry Johnson, aggressive inside, count the basket and the foul. Larry Johnson, clearly, in my view, at his best when he has the low block post-up move and when he uses his quickness inside as opposed to those fadeaway jumpers.
Well, you're seeing them let him get into the teeth of the defense before anybody gets back there on the double team. Now, remember, we need to keep our eye on Alonzo Mourning sitting. In game 1, when the Chicago Bulls were able to steal that game, Alonzo sat for about 2.5 minutes, and the Bulls outscored Charlotte 10-1.
Larry Johnson leads all scorers with 10. Alonzo on the bench, Mourning with only 2 points, carrying 1 personal foul. It's a Hornets lead of 1 with 11:35 to go in the second quarter. Kerr comes off the screen from Jordan and knocks down the jumper. Memories of Jordan and Paxson.
Yes, sir, and Steve Kerr is a guy that they want to get some more field goal attempts. Only 1 in game 1 and 5 in game 2.
They're going to the Larry Johnson well until it runs dry. 10 on the shot clock. Back to Johnson. That's a 3.
They'll live with that. They'll live with that 3-pointer out there.
Purdue with the rebound, but we have a loose ball foul on Charlotte.
See, Larry Johnson doesn't need to take that 3. He can get inside. I always felt that was sort of a giveaway shot. Now, his numbers are up from the 3-point line this year because it's closer, but still Larry Johnson can do his damage in the low post against the Bulls. I agree with you, Bob.
Kenny Gaddison is in the ball game for Charlotte, and Percy Hawkins is back in. Bogues sits down. Jordan penetrates, kicks to Kerr.
See who's playing Michael Jordan now. Larry Johnson. He goes right back into the post once again.
Purdue kept it alive, couldn't hold it.
Michael looks like he's a little quick with his shot. I think when he gets in here, he's a little anxious. He's 3 for 8, and again, he's not made a jump shot yet. 2 post-ups and a finger roll.
Percy Hawkins, defended by Kerr. Better defender than most people give him credit for. Parrish, quicker than you thought. He spins around Wennington, but misses the little short jumper. Purdue off the break. Fouled on the shot. Purdue will go to the free throw line, where he has been pretty good in the playoffs. He's been shooting 82%. In the regular season, 58%.
The versatility of Michael Jordan with this unit on the floor. Michael actually is playing point guard. Steve Kerr is playing as the off guard. You've got Kukoc, Will Purdue, and Bill Wennington in the lineup. So they really have a big team on the floor. You've got Purdue at 7 feet, Wennington at about 6'10", Kukoc at 6'11", Michael at 6'6". So they've gone with a big lineup here and allowed Michael to run the point guard situation.
Purdue misses them both. Tipped by Kukoc, controlled by Parrish. Those are the first Chicago free throws tonight. Bulls by 1. 10:22 to go in the half. Back to Johnson with the double team. Gaddison, pass inside. Parrish, jump hook. Just 2 short ones. Sorry, another rebound. He has 3 early. Jordan passing to Kukoc, who dumps it off to Wennington. You got to think Kukoc wanted that basket.
I Bill Winnington's shot, too. Well, that's a tough catch by Larry Johnson. Soft hand. That's a big-time play right there. That's an all-star play.
Operating big in the paint. 12 points for Larry Johnson. He's 4 out of 5, and he gives the Hornets a 1-point lead. Blue coach just cannot handle it defensively. 10 on the shot clock. Purdue into the paint. Goes left. Now he wants the foul.
Yeah, come on, Will. You ought to just take that bank shot off the glass. Don't get greedy.
Will Purdue 3 of 3 tonight. He lost his starting role to Luke Longley. Longley got into early foul trouble. Purdue came on and has scored 6 and has 3 rebounds.
Again, Larry Johnson posting up here. They're going to go the one-on-one matchup with he and Kukoc this time he steps out and shoots the J.
And drops it for 14 points in the first half here for Larry Johnson. Bulls will have to find an answer for that question. Down 1, Jordan on the drive, and he's fouled hard by Kenny Gaddison. Larry Johnson has scored the last 9 Charlotte points. Gaddison, who said he was going to be physical, certainly has been. 3 quick fouls off the bench.
The Hornets lead by 1. We've talked a lot about changing courts and different baskets and how it shouldn't affect you, but psychologically it does. Michael Jordan says he does not feel as comfortable in this building, but he has done something about it. He has taken the chair that he used for 9 years at the old stadium and brought it out of storage. He used it for the first time in the final regular season game here at home. The only home game since his return in which he shot 50% in this building. Bob?
That'll probably be for sale at some collectibles place for about, $2,500.
And you tell me that even the greatest players in the world aren't superstitious?
Mike's chair. Look what the back of my seat says.
It says Bob's chair.
There you
I
go.
mean, you should feel very honored that you and Michael both have your chairs labeled in the new United Center.
Thank you very much, Doug. It's really an honor having you recognize me for that, too. Michael's first trip to the free throw line tonight. Jordan has 7 and 8. 7 lead changes in this ball game here in the first half.
Alonzo Mourning sat for 3:06, got a nice rest, and while he was out, the Hornets actually outscored the Bulls by 3. Positive sign for Charlotte.
You can see now Pippen is back in and on Larry Johnson trying to stop that bleeding. Hawkins shoots an air ball. Purdue to Jordan. Bulls by a point. You'd think this lineup would lean a little bit in favor of the Bulls. We'll see. Winnington with a bad pass. 10 on the shot clock. Knocked out of bounds by Del Curry.
I think Michael's going to finally get his first rest here.
Indiana trying to eliminate Atlanta tonight with a lead late in the third quarter.
Bob, you know, sometimes you look at these first-round matchups and you think, well, if it goes 4 or 5, not much difference. It's big difference. You want to play as few games as you possibly can, get the rest, and get back to work on what you have to do for the next series. So the teams that lose make it look like it's not a big deal, but you do not want to get deep into a 5-game series if you can avoid it.
Indiana's next opponent would be the winner of the New York-Cleveland series, and that's not over. What a game we saw in Cleveland last night. Best 79-point game I've ever seen.
New York was 1 shot away from being on the brink of elimination. That's how close things can be.
2 on the shot clock, and Pippen beat it. Winnington runs down the rebound, and he drops the jumper.
Alonzo Mourning has got to get into this game. He's got off to a very slow start. 1 for 5 in the first quarter, only 1 rebound and 2 turnovers. They need him to be big, and especially against Bill Winnington in this matchup right now. They've got to go to work on Mourning.
That foul on Bill Winnington as Mourning went to work on him.
Alonzo Mourning is averaging almost 28 points a game. He's had 8 block shots, 16.5 rebounds, 4 assists. And tonight, right now, you'd have to say with him having only 2 points and 2 turnovers and being down only 3, if you're Alan Briscoe, you're very fortunate.
Chicago Center's 5 fouls already. Longley and Winnington with 2, Purdue with 1, so they're using them. Down to Mourning again. Travel. Chicago ball up by 3, 7:45 remaining in the first half. Alonzo Mourning, we talk about Jordan's performance for Chicago. He has been such a man for Charlotte in the first 2 games, and as you pointed out, Doug, struggling here tonight.
Now 2 points, 1 rebound, and 3 turnovers. They have got to have bigger numbers if they're going to win tonight.
Pete Myers into the ball game from Pippen, rims it out of bounds. Charlotte ball. Look out, Bogues will be down there in the paint before you can breathe.
No one picked him up. He just brought the ball down the floor and shot a jump shot. That's a breakdown for the Bulls defensively. Steve Kerr never got to him at all.
Bullet pass inside to Purdue from Scottie Pippen, who has 6 assists.
Well, Alan Bristow's got to be very unhappy. Will Purdue just outran Alonzo Mourning down the floor, and Will Purdue's given them much-needed offense here right off the bench. They have really needed this from their big people. There's a good sign for Charlotte. Del Curry finally hit the jump shot, and we can talk about their perimeter shooting. When the big guys in the double teams, Hawkins, Bogues, and Del Curry have got to make some outside shots. Wingate's been shooting it well.
Pippen on the drive, goes to the left hand. Wennington runs down the rebound. Nice play by Bill Wennington. New shot clock.
Bulls are a little quicker to the ball tonight than Charlotte.
There's that triple post. Down to 10 seconds. Wennington, open.
That's his shot.
Myers runs down the offensive rebound.
No block out. An extra shot. Will they make him pay for it?
Yes.
Yes, they do.
Steve Kerr has 4. He's 2 for 2.
The Bulls by 3.
Alan Bristow's got to be very upset. Del Curry just allowed Pete Myers to come in and take the ball right off his shoulder.
10 on the shot clock for the Hornets. Myers doing a good job. Oops, call for the foul. Just as I was about to say, doing a good job defending Hersey Hawkins. Timeout on the floor. Bulls up by 3. Just under 6 minutes remaining in the first half from the United Center.
Well, Chicago out-rebounding Charlotte 16-8, 5-2 on the offensive boards, and you'll see subtle little things happen. Pete Myers gets the offensive rebound, and you're going to see Scottie Pippen set the nice little screen for Steve Kerr to help him get him open. So as he rolled this forward, stop it right here. Here's Pippen. You see the nice little screen against Muggsy Bogues to free up Steve Kerr for the open jump shot. Kerr off the bench 2 for 2. But it's really the rebounding that's been the key, 16-8. So the Bulls with 8 more rebounds. They've been pounded on the boards in the first 2 games, over 7 a game. Charlotte has won that battle. And again, Alonzo Mourning is the missing warrior right now for the Charlotte Hornets. They're down only 3, and they really have gotten nothing out of the big star.
Mourning only 1 for 5. Hawkins only 1 for 3. 5:49 to go in the first half. Mismatch, Pippen and Bogues. And we've got Kerr on Del Curry. Bogues is open. Out of bounds, off the Bulls. Charlotte ball. Pete Myers, who's excellent defensive player, comes in and scrambles the game for you.
We see Pippen is playing Muggsy Bogues, that you can talk about. He's just trying to stay in front of him with his long arms, discourage him from making passes. Curry coming off screens now, being played by Steve Kerr. We're going to have to watch that matchup because Curry feels like he can get open against Steve Kerr. He's busted his last 2 shots.
Chicago by 1, 5:22. Del Curry, one of the great pure shooters of the game. Myers off his foot. Another Chicago turnover. That's 8. Look out, here comes Bogues.
Don't blink.
Terry Durham says, no, wait a minute. Longley's coming back in the game. I've got a brief whistle here before you go.
I think it's remarkable that Charlotte's only down 1 right now. When you look at the numbers, if you're Alan Bristow, again, we're talking about Hersey Hawkins and Alonzo Mourning. 2 of their big 3 scorers have given them nothing right now. They're down only 1. They have to feel very good about that.
Excellent performance offensively from Larry Johnson. Offensive foul on Charlotte.
Mourning with his 4th turnover. They have really frustrated him tonight.
And Mourning's 2nd personal foul. Don't forget, at the conclusion of our game, we'll be selecting the Budweiser player of the game.
And Will Purdue really gave the Bulls good minutes while he was on the floor. More so on the offense than any place else. You don't expect that. Will Purdue
8 points.
Averaging 3 points in this series. Gave him a quick 8 points and did a terrific job.
Purdue, Kukoc, and Jordan were the 3 leading scorers as Purdue sits down. All with 8. Into Wennington on the curl. Short arms it over Parrish. Chance for the Hornets to regain the lead. Been 7 lead changes in this game and 5 ties.
See, Curry hits 2 quick shots, so he sees Michael Jordan come on him quickly. They want to try to cool him off.
Trying to cool off Larry Johnson, too. Pippen in there. He's no effect at this point. And Johnson has 16 first half points. He's only missed 1 shot.
We'll see the matchup on the perimeter goes to Scotty if he does that. And if it goes inside, it goes to Larry Johnson. These 2 guys win at each other the last game of the season here. Larry Johnson had big numbers, but Pippen also played well and put up numbers on the outside.
Pippen, who has not been scoring well in this series, averaging only 13 points, has 7 now as he hits that triple. That foul on Steve Kerr.
Boy, interestingly enough, Michael Jordan now playing Muggsy Bogues. So the respect for Muggsy Bogues is they're putting Michael Jordan on him or Scottie Pippen on him. I think that says a lot about what the Bulls feel their keys are.
Larry Johnson misses that one. Jordan with another rebound. He has 3 in the game. Under 4 minutes to go in the half. Bulls by 2.
Still waiting for Michael to make that first jump shot.
They fake the screen and roll and get it into Wennington, who lays it in. Nice play by Pippen and Bill Wennington.
Scottie Pippen has more assists than the Charlotte team tonight.
7. 41-37 Chicago. Warning defended by Longley. Jordan came over for the double team, out of bounds. Charlotte ball, 9 on the clock.
This is one of the least inspired halves I've seen from Alonzo Mourning. I've done a lot of his games over the last few years. He is really struggling to get himself going. I guess you have to give a lot of credit to Chicago. But Alonzo's a very emotional player. Right now, he's not playing that emotion that we normally see in him.
You're right about that. Del Curry with the ball fake. And a 3. Del Curry, what a sweet shot. 7 points.
See, he's not concerned about Steve Kerr bothering his shot. You can see when Kerr gets on him, he's made 3 quick jumpers.
Curry with the foul on the reach-in for Jordan. 41-40 Bulls, 3:15 to go in the half. And Indiana now with a double-digit lead over Atlanta. Indiana leading in that first-round series 2-0. Could close the Hawks out at home tonight. They'd like that because they'll have to play very tough physical team in either New York or Cleveland in the second round.
Seeing what happens if New York wins on Thursday night against Cleveland, that series would probably start on Saturday, which would give Indiana a chance to rest a little bit. New York would have to come right into a new series. See, all those things come to play in the playoffs.
Jordan's 360 turnaround. Very nicely done. He's 4 for 9.
And all 4 field goals are in the paint.
I don't know where I'll get you, he says, but I'll get you.
Doesn't matter, right? As long as you put it up there.
Maybe now. Muggsy Bogues slips away from Steve Kerr. Wingate's open. He was hot early in the ball game.
Gotta get it up.
1 second on the shot clock. It didn't go, but he did beat the clock. Bulls by 3. Pippen. Right back from Luke Long.
Remember now, Mourning has 2. They'd love to get the 3rd one on him before halftime.
8 seconds on the shot clock. Jordan. Finger roll. Doesn't go, but the foul. David Wingate picks up the personal, and that's his 3rd. Could be significant later in this game. Timeout on the floor. Bulls up by 3 with 2:13 to go in the half. Jordan, when we return, will go to the line after that foul from Wingate.
Just keep your eye on the lottery ball.
Shouldn't that guy be in a movie somewhere?
Well, he's right now critiquing us watching this game right now, so you don't know that, but he's got it taped. He's going to go home and watch.
Thumbs up, thumbs down, Gene Sisco. Oh, my.
You know, we don't want to pick on Alonzo Mourning because this guy's such a great player, but he's so out of character tonight. He has more turnovers than points, more fouls than rebounds, and the Chicago Centers have 16.7 rebounds. So right now, you look up at that scoreboard, again, I keep saying it's amazing that Charlotte is winning 3 right now. You'd have to think that Mourning is going to come out of his funk in the second half.
Yeah, and Larry Johnson's already dropped 16 on Chicago. He's been taking up the slack to keep Charlotte close. Jordan was fouled by Wingate before the timeout and gets 2 free throws here. Pete Myers in for Scottie Pippen with 2:13 to go. Pippen goes to the bench. Remember, he had 2 fouls early.
Yes, and remember in game 1, he got into early foul trouble, and if Phil can buy 2 minutes and 13 seconds with him, he'd much rather have Pippen have 4 fouls going into the second half than only 3. We've always talked, too, about how teams end quarters. Right now, Charlotte down 5, 2:12 to go. Very important they don't allow Chicago to get up to a double-digit lead here in these last couple minutes. They need a field goal.
Bogues is going to try for one over Jordan. The air ball caught by Myers. Jordan had broken away, and Myers couldn't release the pass.
See, they've taken Muggsy's shot out of the game by putting both Michael Jordan and Pippen on him. Those long arms, they can play off of him and still bother his shot.
The turnover, Bogues has to beat Kerr. Jordan gets the rebound away from Curry. Big rebound from Michael. After the steal, Bogues only 2 of 6 tonight. Doug will calm it down. Myers with 10 on the shot clock. Kerr. Judd Bushler in to Luke Longley with 3 on the clock.
Lefty hook. He's coming back with a left hook or the right hook.
Well, he traveled. He didn't get anything off.
When the ball gets in Luke Longley's hands, he holds it.
Yeah.
And normally the other centers move the ball. So when he catches it, Bob, he's going to make a decision. Am I going to shoot it or am I going to give it up? The indecision there cost him a turnover. That's 10 Chicago turnovers. That's one of the areas of keeping Charlotte close in this game.
45-40 Bulls. Larry Johnson penetrates inside. Horning has it stripped by Pete Myers. That's 5 turnovers for Horning. Inside to Bushler. Sees Horning.
Kerr
wide open. Doesn't get the bounce. Myers with the offensive board. Under a minute to go. First half. Bulls by 5.
With the offensive rebounds right now for Chicago, they're just much more active than Charlotte.
There's the double team. Kerr open again for 3.
He's not going to miss 2 in a row.
You got that right. He's the NBA leader in three-point percentage. They're on their feet at the United Center.
Del Curry should never leave him to go double team. Alan Bristow very upset. You cannot let Steve Kerr get free for shots. What is that, 7 points in the game now for Steve Kerr?
That's right. Foul on Bushler trying to defend, and Alan Bristow is just frenzied over on the sideline.
Well, he's telling Del Curry, don't leave him. You know what our game plan is. We don't leave Armstrong. We don't leave Steve Kerr. We don't want to give these guys open jump shots. These guys are as good as anybody in the league shooting the three-point shot.
Coming up at halftime, the Reebok halftime report, Ernie Johnson, will be in our Atlanta studios. The Kings' Mitch Richmond, who is in a dead heat for Fashion Award of the night, by the way. Craig Sager here wearing his Northwestern purple in Chicago. And a great-looking jacket on Mitch Richmond. They'll have a first-half analysis. Derek Dickey has a game preview of the Suns and Blazers with Charles Barkley coming up on the Reebok halftime report.
You'd have to like what Chicago's bench has done tonight. It's given them 19 points, which is 20% of their offense. So Michael Jordan's shots are way down tonight. Everyone else is involved. They have a 7-point lead. And they have to feel great about what they've been able to do with Alonzo Mourning. Here, Mourning and Pippen, is it going to be a double foul? If so, it'll be 3 on both of them. Scotty just cannot make that play. And nor can Mourning. That's 3 now on both of these players.
And that's the story.
See, Scotty goes out of the game at 2:12. Let's watch Mourning and Pippen both get locked up. It's a double foul. And Scotty goes into the game with like 18 seconds to go for the last possession. Phil's saying, I'll be able to at least hide him here because we're not going to have to play any defense. And on a made free throw, they both get their third.
18 seconds to go in the half. Bulls up by 8. Jordan in the double team to Kerr. Shot the game clock down to 10 seconds. They'll isolate Jordan. We've seen this before. Double clutch! He draws the foul, but the shot wouldn't fall. 5.4 seconds to go in the half.
See, that's not fair because he makes that look so easy. He goes up with one hand and he's hanging. Now this Hancock can leap. And look at Michael. He gets that tongue out and he sort of hangs. That's not fair.
He waits till the other player sinks to the ground.
Yes, that's not fair. I mean, look at him go up and he elevates and he sort of hangs in the air. And the law of gravity says you can't hang. It's supposed to pull you back down. For some reason, it doesn't work with Michael.
Maybe we should talk to Michael about that. Defying the laws of gravity. He's been doing it now for 10 years. Michael Jordan has 12 points, 4 for 4 from the free throw line tonight. Bulls up by 6 with only 5.4 seconds remaining in the half. Kukoc is going to the bench. We have a couple of last-second substitutions here. Larry Johnson is on the floor with Bogues and Del Curry. Gaddison sits down. Hersey Hawkins is on the floor. And Darren Hancock for Charlotte. They really have plenty of time to get a shot off with 5.4 remaining.
Del Curry in the line for Charlotte, replacing Kenny Gaddison.
Michael hasn't missed from the free throw line tonight. 13 points in the first half.
You see, like it, the fact that Michael has 13 points and only 9 shots. That, to me, is a real telling statistic. When he has to start taking 30 shots to get 25, 30 points, then the rest of the guys get lost.
There's the Bulls double team. Hancock with 2 seconds.
Throws it way out of bounds. It simply slipped out of his hand.
They got to shoot the ball, Bob. He had 1 second. There's no way that ball could have got there to the guy to take the shot. He's got to pull up and let that one go.
He let it go all right. 0.2 of a second left on the clock. The Bulls will simply get it in bounds and let the clock expire and lead the half by 8 points. Biggest lead of the game for Chicago. Charlotte had 1 field goal in the last 4.5 minutes. Alonzo Mourning only had 1 field goal in the entire half. Jordan 14 for Chicago. Larry Johnson kept Charlotte in the game with 18 points. Right after these commercial messages, we'll be joining Ernie Johnson and Mitch Richmond on the Reebok Halftime Report.
And welcome back to our Atlanta studios. Let's update what's going on in Atlanta at the Omni between the Indiana Pacers and the Atlanta Hawks, the game that could send Indiana into the conference semifinals, and I'd be very surprised if it didn't. 4 minutes to go in this game. The Indiana Pacers on the verge of a sweep. They lead at 97-82 over the Atlanta Hawks. Later tonight, here's the playoff schedule on TBS. It'll be Game 3 of the San Antonio-Denver series. The Spurs looking to sweep the Nuggets, and they're going to try to do it at McNichols Arena. Also on TNT, Phoenix and Portland, the Suns trying to sweep the Portland Trail Blazers, but as you know from Mitch Richmond, Portland is going to win that game, but we advise you to watch anyway. Let's take a look at the second half of Charlotte and Chicago. The Bulls have an 8-point lead. Michael, a very average 14 in the first half. What do we look for in the next 24 minutes?
Well, I think Charlotte's going to come out, be very aggressive, try to get Alonzo in the basketball game. Chicago, I think they're going to play well at home. I think Chicago will probably win.
You know, from what you've seen of Michael Jordan in the past and right now, has he lost much in your book, or is he the same Michael Jordan?
Well, he's the same basketball player that when he left. He probably don't jump as high, but he still jumped it more than other people in this game.
50-42 is the count. Michael Jordan and the Bulls trying to take a 2-1 lead over the Charlotte Hornets. The third quarter is coming up. That's the Reebok Halftime Report.
The Reebok Halftime Report has been brought to you by Reebok.
Bulls have an 8-point lead at intermission. Alan Bristow, Charlotte's coach, with me now, and I guess based on what Alonzo Mourning has done, 1 field goal, 1 rebound, 5 turnovers, you're lucky to be down just 8. What's wrong with Zoe?
Our game plan was to get the ball in the middle, and we're struggling a little bit. We've got to get Alonzo more involved. The 5 turnovers probably worry me a little bit more than him not getting the points on the board, but hey, we got 24 minutes. We'll get the ball to him.
Todd Collins noticed you weren't real happy when Steve Kerr got the open shot.
Yeah, well, we got to make sure he doesn't get open, and that's probably been a big difference. They get some points out of Purdue and Kerr, and that really hurt us.
Good luck second half. Let's go back to Bob and Doug.
Thanks, Craig Sager and Alan Bristow. Pretty well laying it out there. Alonzo Mourning with the biggest struggle. They're going to go to him more in the second half.
Well, he's got 3 fouls, which is a concern, but I think the real difference is when we talked about the opening in the big lineup against the small lineup, I mean, when you look at Charlotte, they've got 3 offensive rebounds. They've only taken 9 free throws. Larry Johnson's taken 7 of them, and they've been pounded in every phase right now. So they have got to be able to get Mourning more emotionally involved, Bob. He is such a key just to be the emotional warrior of this team, and he's been very, passive. I have never seen Mourning like this in a big game.
There's the Budweiser game summary, which gives you the numbers on Mourning, and the Bulls centers. Purdue with 8 points. Longley started tonight, and there's Jordan's contribution, getting a lot more help from the supporting cast.
Well, I think the real key, too, is 40% of the points in the first 2 games, only 28% of tonight's points. More importantly, he's only taken 9 of the 35 shots. So instead of taking, upwards of 28, 29 shots, Michael at 9, everyone is involved. So you have to feel very good that if it comes time to take over the game, he'll have that kind of energy necessary to do that.
50-42, the Chicago Bulls. It was 24-22 at the end of the quarter. Look at the rebounds here. Charlotte out-rebounding the Bulls in the series, but tonight, 21-10, the Bulls.
See, Charlotte had 8 turnovers in that first half also, too. They've been averaging under 11. They're averaging almost 18 offensive rebounds, only 3. So all the numbers point to Chicago controlling the entire game. I mean, Alan Bristol's lucky he's not looking at a big-time double-digit deficit right now with the way that his team actually finished that second quarter.
Muggsy Bogues. David Wingate, who came out hot from the perimeter, primarily a defensive player for Charlotte. There they are going into morning. Had to kick it back out here, however. And the miss kept alive by Longley. The miss from Bogues. And here comes B.J. Armstrong to Michael Jordan. 3 for Michael.
That's his first jump shot of the ball game. Michael Jordan gives him a double-digit lead now at 11. Now look at the matchup. Michael Jordan playing Muggsy Bogues. B.J. Armstrong playing Percy Hawkins. That's the respect that the Bulls have for Muggsy Bogues.
Into morning again. They have to kick it back out. Back to morning again. Got a better position this time. Lost the ball. Another Alonzo Mourning turnover. Open is Kukoc. He was fouled by Muggsy Bogues.
Alonzo Mourning never got back down the floor. He got tied up with Scottie Pippen when he spun. And right now, Charlotte's going to have to do some things to try to get Alonzo the ball where he's not getting 3 players on him. Look at this. You got Michael stripping. You got Longley there. You got Pippen in his lap. Because Wingate and Muggsy Bogues are on that same side of the floor, and the Bulls will totally collapse off those people and make Wingate and Bogues make jump shots. When we talked about the perimeter shooting, and in Game 2, when the perimeter players made some shots, they were effective. In Game 1, Muggsy Bogues was 2 of 10, Hawkins 3 of 6, Curry 4 of 11, and they were not able to score against Chicago.
53-42, Bulls by 11. Kukoc not doing it at the free throw line. 3 for 4 coming into the game from the line. Hasn't been there much. 10:53 to go, third quarter. Wingate from the corner. Air ball comes down to Longley. B.J. Armstrong.
B.J. Armstrong played 12 minutes in that first half, only took 1 shot. And in this series, in Game 1, he took 5. In Game 2, he took 8. And Steve Kerr was the more effective player in that first half.
Robert Parrish will check in here early for Charlotte as they'll get big early. Waited about half the quarter in the first part of the ball game. Nearly another turnover there.
Charlotte's really out of sync offensively. That clock winding down against them once again. And it's going to be Wingate have to take the shot.
4 seconds. Nice shot on the leaner. Pippen almost blocked it, and that's Charlotte's first field goal in the last 5 minutes and 30 seconds. Pippen with 15 on the shot clock. To Kukoc. He'll take this 3. Tony Kukoc drops the 3. He has 11. And the Bulls are up by 12.
Now you figure that out. He misses 2 free throws and then steps out and hits a 3. So easy game to figure, isn't it?
Absolutely. Looking for Mourning against Longley. There's that quick double team. See, they're going to leave Bogues open.
Absolutely. Michael's going to go back. He's going to double team.
Jordan is just driving him crazy.
I'll tell you what's happened. With Muggsy Bogues entering the ball into the post, Michael's going to be the guy who will double back. If they bring Percy Hawkins in to double the post, then Michael will double from across the floor. So whatever they do, they're going to have Michael be their wild card and their doubler. And at 6'6", he comes back there and can disrupt your post player.
Mourning with 4 on the shot clock. 7-2 Luke Longley. Jordan runs at him. The shot clock violation. Chicago ball. The fans at the United Center love the defense.
They have totally frustrated Alonzo Mourning. He cannot get loose. Remember, Bob, I've told you the story when Michael was in his second year playing for me. He blocked over 100 shots and had over 200 steals and was the defensive player of the year. And he can really go back and bother post players because he can block their shots from behind.
Michael's pull-up jumper from the line. He's got that look. 19 from Jordan. Timeout. Charlotte, they're on their feet. Chicago up 58-44 on a 17-4 run, Doug.
Bob, let me show you what's happened. When Muggsy Bogues is going to be the guy that throws the ball in the post, watch Michael Jordan. See, he can cover out, and he can come back and double team. Now, we'll stop it right here. Pippen will take first pass out, and then Michael will recover. So they're swarming with their two best defensive perimeter players, and Alonzo Mourning has no room at all to operate.
Johnny Bach, now the defensive coach for Charlotte, used to call them when he was at Chicago, the Dobermans. Well named. 9:06 to go, third quarter, 58-44 Chicago on the verge of blowing this thing open. Michael! Oh, baby!
What did I say about him not being able to finish? Going left with the dunk, and Charlotte have better get the intensity up right now, or Chicago's going to run him out of the building.
Chicago on a 19-4 run. Mourning, once again bothered by Jordan, but he gets the hook to fall. That's only his second field goal. Mourning 2 of 7. Kukoc with a jam! Charlotte's defense in the middle, non-existent on that play.
Well, what's happened is Mourning is playing in the post. Kukoc is guarding Larry Johnson, and then Mourning is trying to get to Kukoc in a cross match. They cannot get back soon enough, and the Bulls are breaking.
Kukoc hasn't missed tonight. He is 6 out of 6, and the Bulls have a 62-46 lead. Doug, Charlotte trailed 41-40 with 3:23 left in the second quarter. Since then, Chicago on a 21-4 run.
When we talk about how teams end quarters and start halves, and right now that has been the downfall of the Charlotte Hornets. They just have not passed Chicago's intensity right. Oh my goodness!
The Croatian sensation has 15, still has yet to miss. Timeout, Charlotte. Chicago with an 18-point lead. Doug.
All right, a couple things. Longley is playing Mourning. Mourning is playing Kukoc. Michael Jordan is the guy who's going to come back and double team. So even when Mourning scores, watch what happens. In transition, Kukoc leaks out. Mourning sort of jogging back down the floor. See Larry Johnson pointing like, hey, get him. Well, it's too late because Johnson's trying to get over. Now Kukoc on the drive goes right past him. The next time down the floor, he goes right past Robert Parrish. And which way does he do it? Going left.
And that was a magical shot. Another turnover. Jordan with the ball. Chicago threatening a 20-point lead.
See what's happened. Michael Jordan has totally disrupted the game by playing Muggsy Bogues and becoming the double team guy. He is getting back and disrupting post play.
This is that jumper. Kukoc keeps it alive. B.J. Armstrong. 3! First basket of the game for Armstrong is a triple, and the Bulls are up 21 points. Jordan's practically ignoring Bogues.
Well, he's going to give him that shot. Now, the question is, does Alan Bristow take a chance on taking Bogues out of the game and coming in with Curry and Hawkins as his backcourt and go big with Mourning, Parrish, and Johnson? This is not working, and they've really taken Muggsy Bogues completely out of the game.
Chicago has outscored Charlotte 17-4 this quarter. Kukoc with a reverse at one fault. Mercy.
See, Mourning can't move his feet out on the perimeter as quickly as Tony Kukoc, and the problem is now when you go in the post, he's played against by Longley, and Michael Jordan is swarming him when he catches the basketball, so Mourning is getting double and triple teamed.
Robert Parrish over Pippen. Robert Parrish gets the points to go down, and that's the first Charlotte field goal in a while.
Talk about adjustments. These are the kind of adjustments that coaches make to see what will work and what won't. In game 2, Phil Jackson did not like the matchup. He's made a little bit of a change here, and it's worked to perfection for his team. Now Charlotte's got a counter. See, he goes left once again, and he attacks Mourning, and Mourning gets his fourth foul. That's a bad matchup for Mourning. Kukoc too quick.
4 on Mourning. He'll have to go to the bench now, and Kenny Gaddison comes into the ball game. And as Kukoc shoots his free throws, it'll give us an opportunity to take a look at the Chevy scoreboard as the playoffs get underway. Here in 1995, round one, East and the West. How about L.A. upsetting Seattle last night? Seattle with their backs to the wall. You look at the numbers of Kukoc. He had been averaging 13 a game and was only shooting 39%. And tonight, he's only missed once and has 16.
What about the headlines in one of the Chicago papers today? It was like, what about Michael Jordan supporting the cast? Well, tonight it's been very supportive. Michael with a very quiet 19, picking and choosing his spots, and the rest of the team, particularly Tony Kukoc, having a big game on offense.
Offensive foul on Muggsy Bogues, moving screen. Now we're going to give you the Chevy scores.
Are we going to be saying congratulations to the Indiana Pacers for moving into the second round?
Well, they had a substantial lead late in the ball game, but we're going to make you wait. This is tantalizing, I know. Don't go get the Coca-Cola.
This is not fair. This is not fair.
All right, if you're good, we'll show them to you in a minute. Jordan hit the jumper. You can see he's feeling it, but wave it off. He was fouled first by Del Curry, who has 2.
How about the presence of mind? Michael Jordan hears the whistle, and again, defying gravity, hangs in the air and shoots the ball, hoping to get the continuation.
5:53 to go in the third quarter. 21-point lead for the Bulls. Longley.
They're running a clinic right now. It's like whoever scores, whoever wants the ball, Charlotte can't stop them. Now they're going to Larry Johnson to let him try to create their offense against Kukoc. But again, Michael Jordan will be the disruptor. We can see they've gone to the big guards that I talked about. Hawkins, Curry into the game, letting Larry Johnson handle the basketball, because they've got to find something that they can take into game 4 that they feel it will work, because right now Chicago has them right where they want them in terms of what they want to do defensively against this big lineup.
Del Curry, 3 will help them get back in. Del Curry and Hersey Hawkins can really shoot it, as you well know. An offensive threat there. Jordan missing the finger roll, kept alive, run down by B.J. Armstrong.
Loose balls, offensive rebounds, all going to Chicago tonight.
5:10 to go in the third quarter. They isolate Pippen on Robert Parrish.
Seems like Chicago's got a mismatch right now. Every time you look up somewhere, now you got Kukoc against Gaddison.
Kukoc with the travel. 5 minutes to go in the quarter.
And Larry Johnson again now will be that what you call that point forward position. He will create from the top against Tony Kukoc, try to free Curry and Hawkins off screens.
10 on the shot clock. Chicago defense extending. Gaddison pitching to Larry Johnson. First points of this half. Larry had 18 at the half, 20 in the game now. To 18 points. Look at the difference in rebounding, Doug. Chicago 27 to 12 for Charlotte.
It's not a tough game to figure out. Turnovers, rebounds, free throws. You win the battle of those 3 statistics most often, unless the team just shoots lights out against you, you're going to win the game.
Kukoc, another 3. He's shooting lights out. 20 points for Kukoc.
Bulls back by 21.
Jordan with the steal. Look out, has Pippen. Oh, baby, look out. We saw this 3 years ago and 4 years ago at the old Chicago Stadium.
Well, what's happened now with the big lineup, Chicago's extending their pressure. So whatever Charlotte's doing, Chicago's trying to counter it. They're not going to let them get into a half-court game. Michael Jordan with the great steal against Hersey Hawkins. He just comes in from behind. And Scottie Pippen out ahead of the pack. Scottie's been very quiet offensively tonight, although he has a lot of assists. 8 assists on the ball game. So Scottie's doing whatever's necessary. That's the one thing I love about Scottie Pippen. His ego never gets into the way of, do I need to score points or whatever? I just need to bring to this team on a particular line. It might be defense. It might be rebounding. He's a total team player. Here's another steal.
Kukoc
tried to knock it loose. Hawkins will pull up and miss the three. Pippen for the rebound. Kept it alive. First, the loose ball foul on Charlotte.
Gaddison with a foul. What is that? His fifth?
Yes. Hawkins is only 1 of 4 shooting the ball, and Gaddison picked up quick fouls when he came in, and that's his 4th, Doug.
Remember we talked in the opening how important Hersey Hawkins would be to this team because of the ability to make perimeter shots, to keep Michael active, to make him work on both ends. 1 for 4 tonight. Charlotte can't win this series unless he can put up, mid-double figure points. They need 15, 17 points from him or they will not be able to beat Chicago.
Kukoc gives it up to Pippen to Jordan. On the penetration, it was blocked. Longley came back for the offensive board. Everybody went to Jordan. He missed it. Longley has 6 points now.
You know what I've seen from Michael tonight is he's isolating a lot from the right wing, going into the paint and finishing with his left hand. The one dunk that he had tonight was going right and dunking the ball with his left.
Which raises a question. Why? B.J. Armstrong has Kukoc and Pippen. He'll pull up.
Smart play. You got a guy to rebound the ball.
Pippen with a tip-in.
That's a smart play, though. You don't force the pass. You got one of the better shooters in the game. Drive the ball, pull up, shoot it. 2 guys on the boards. That's beautiful.
Pippen, 11 points, 4 rebounds, 8 assists. They're on their feet cheering the Bulls. Larry Johnson drives past Kukoc. He's called for the foul.
And speaking of Kukoc, he has a new career playoff high in points tonight. Tony Kukoc with 20 points. And we have 2.5 minutes left in the 3rd quarter.
Bulls defense has been sensational tonight. They've been quicker, they've been more aggressive, and more importantly, they changed their matchups to turn Michael Jordan loose, and he's created all kinds of havoc defensively against the post players.
Jordan getting a rest now as Myers checks in. There's the double team. Mooney is fouled on the drop. Picks up the personal, and that's 4 on Longley. Last time Longley got in foul trouble, Purdue came in and threw in 8 quick points.
Sometimes when you change your lineup, you never know how it's going to work. Longley didn't get it going tonight, although he frustrated Alonzo Mourning early in the game, and Will Purdue came in and had 8 quick points. So that's why you go to your bench, and that's why you have a bench, especially with the 3 big guys, where you can throw 3 different looks. Whittington, the jump shooter, Purdue, the offensive rebounder, Luke Longley, the low post center.
Timeout on the floor with 2:15 to go in the 3rd quarter, and the Bulls by 26. They're singing with the Bulls brothers, Sweet Home Chicago. That's what everybody's thinking here tonight. There they are, the Bulls brothers, to take off on the old Belushi Ackroyd Saturday night. Speaking of Saturday night, speaking of stars and celebrities, Richard Gere at the ball game here in Chicago with the Bulls up 26 points among the celebrities at the United Center. Reminder, coming up right after this game on TNT, we'll be going out to Jim Durham, Dick Versace, and Derek Dickey for the Phoenix-Portland ball game. Suns lead in that series 2-0, and I kind of think they may sweep there. Doug, how about your feeling?
Well, I don't know. Portland is a very aggressive team at home. I think the disappointing thing about Portland is all season long, they were one of the top rebounding teams in the NBA, and Phoenix was not one of the better rebounding teams. But A.C. Green, Barkley, and the rest of the Phoenix team has had their own way on the boards and out-rebounded in both of those ball games.
There's that 3rd quarter story, 30-12 Chicago. 71% the Bulls are shooting. 71%. A lot of those have been from right inside.
Now, Alonzo Mourning at the free throw line. In the first 2 games, he shot 17 free throws. You can see game 1, game 2. Tonight, he's shooting his first 2 free throws of the night.
80-55 Chicago. Full court pressure from Charlotte. Can they dig out of a 25-point hole at the United Center?
I think what you do right now, if you're Alan Briscoe, you try to just probe around to find out, can we find something that we like that we can take in maybe game 4 to get the Bulls to prepare for.
Scottie Pippen with 3 on the shot clock. Finger roll doesn't fall. Larry Johnson with the rebound. Larry Johnson has 20 points in the game, had 16 early in the second quarter, and has been cool since then. Hawkins knocks that one down. Charlotte to within 22. Lob to Kukoc. 22 points.
See, Kukoc now moves to small forward, and he's played by Hancock. So he's got the quickness on Mourning. He's got the size on Hancock. Whoever's playing him, he's having his way with tonight. Alan Bristow's got to be concerned about that.
Offensive foul on Darren Hancock. Wave off the basket.
Watch Scottie Pippen step in. I know I'm singing Scottie Pippen's praises because I feel like he is absolutely one of the best players in the game on both ends of the court.
Armstrong being played by Hawkins. Muggsy Bogues on the bench. Chicago's matchups forced that move by Alan Bristow. Pippen, speaking of best player, wow. 13 points for Scottie. That's what he's been averaging. He's had subpar playoffs in the first two games, but certainly not tonight.
Don't ever gauge Pippen on his points. He's an all-round player, what he does defensively. When he gives you 20-plus points, you know, with Michael on the floor, I think that's gravy.
Larry Johnson has 22 now. 24-point Bulls lead.
Scottie's going to attack, though, against Larry Johnson in the open court. Gets him on his heels. Now he's going to play pick and roll.
34 seconds to go in the quarter.
See again the matchup. You better double team him or it's going to be too late.
Kukoc backing in on Darren Hancock. He's called for the first one, and for Hancock, that'll be number 3.
Charlotte's gone very small right now. Hancock, Curry, Hawkins, along with Mourning and Johnson. The big lineup did not work. Now they've got to go to speed and quickness. Down 24 with 30 seconds to go here in the third quarter.
Tony Kukoc misses the free throw. That's about the only thing he's missed tonight. He's 9 of 10 from the field, and this is the kind of performance that the Bulls envisioned when Kukoc came to this team. And think about it. Think about Kukoc playing on the floor with Pippen, Jordan, and had Horace Grant still been.
Oh,
just think of that.
Well, you don't want to think about that if you're the rest of the NBA. You've got 4 guys in the prime of their careers.
However, Horace Grant's with Orlando, and they've got their own problems to deal with. Orlando in Boston. We'll have that game for you tomorrow night on our continuing multiplex coverage on both TBS and TNT.
Hey, you're going to be leaving me to go to Boston tomorrow night. I'll be sitting at home watching you, Robert.
I'll be over there with Chuck Daly, but I'll be back on Thursday.
You know that I will not be critiquing you at all, though. It'll be simply enjoyment for me.
It'll be a load.
Listen.
When I see you Thursday, you'll have so many notes. There's tomorrow on TNT, Orlando, Boston, followed by Utah, Houston, and I just have a sense that Houston may eliminate Utah.
Houston poses a major problem for Utah. They don't have anybody to match up to Elijah Wan. First game, he gets 45, and they lose by 2. Second game, Utah tries to stop Elijah Wan, and they rain in 19 three-point shots. So Jerry Sloan and his coaching staff have to make a major decision. Do we live with Elijah Wan at 40 and try to shut those other people down? And Houston is going to be a very difficult matchup.
With 1 second in the quarter, Mourning symbolically going the way things have gone for him. Misses the short jump hook. And the Bulls in the third quarter leading it 84-60. They led by 8 at the half. They outscored Charlotte 34-18 in the third quarter. Kukoc had 14 in the period. You're looking at Michael Jordan's restaurant. They're going to have to change the number there at the front. By the way, I hope they're holding a table for 8 for Doug Collins and party after the ball game.
And I hope you bring your credit card.
I will.
People say you have short arms and deep pockets. I don't know.
Yes, they do, and they're right. Look, you saw the scoring by quarters. Charlotte's graph going down, Chicago's graph going up.
Well, look at this. All right, turnovers tonight. They already have more in 3 quarters than they've averaged in the series. Look at the free throw attempts, down to 11, and offensive rebounds. So, I mean, Chicago, in those 3 statistics that the big men dominated tonight, have just wiped that completely out. Alan Bristow is going to have a lot of thinking to do between now and Thursday night.
Tony Kukoc almost throws it away. Saved by Pete Myers to Kerr. blocked by Kenny Gaddison. Out of bounds with 1 second on the shot clock for the Bulls.
1 second to shoot.
Kenny Gaddison said in the newspaper, the Bulls better wear flak jackets the way I'm going to play. And he came in here defensively in the first half and had 3 quick fouls.
Well, and Charlotte better put some wings on their feet the way the Bulls played tonight. So this has been a game that has been absolutely totally dominated by the Chicago Bulls since about the 2.5-minute mark in the second quarter.
You know, I would have thought that Chicago's quickness, particularly with their 3 of Kukoc and Jordan and Pippen, would have beaten that big man lineup anyway, but it certainly didn't look like that early.
Well, what's going to happen? They control the pace of the game, Bob, and the Bulls have changed their matchup. They have totally turned Michael loose defensively and Pippen, and that's what adjustments are all about. You've got to decide where can we move people around. And B.J. Armstrong at 6'3", and Kerr at 6'3", both have the size to play against Del Curry and Hersey Hawkins.
You notice that Sutton is in at the point now. They're going to probably, with this game virtually out of hand, that's an offensive foul. It's on Gaddison, and that's 5. With this game out of hand from Charlotte's point of view, they'll probably rest Muggsy Bogues. And Muggsy had a problem with the matchups tonight. Gaddison, black jacket, Gaddison.
With 5 fouls in 8 minutes. I mean, and Alonzo has just had a nightmare of a night. And again, very rarely will you ever see Alonzo Mourning have this kind of game, but you got to give the Bulls a lot of credit.
Jordan from Purdue misses the little pull-up jumper. Michael, by the way, in case you dial in late, has 21 points. He has been a whirling dervish, however, on defense. The Jordan contribution tonight, as Doug has pointed out regularly in the first half, is when they were able to double Jordan off of Bogues, slide down on Mourning. Pippen would slide in for the double coverage, and it was too much for Charlotte.
Yeah, and what's happened, you think it was 41-40 at some point in the second quarter, and since that point in time, the Bulls have outscored them 43-20. That's the dominance we've seen over the last few minutes.
Sutton open for the jumper. It doesn't fall. Hancock with the rebound. Purdue takes that away.
You know, a couple guys we should talk about too, Bob. Scotty Burrell, who was a major part of this team, out with an injury. You know, he's the guy that could have given some shooting, maybe given him a little size against a Pippen or a Kukoc. And Michael Adams not being able to play tonight, had leg problems. He did not play in game 1. They lost. He gave him some minutes in game 2. Unavailable tonight, and they miss him.
That was a nice-looking series of passes until Purdue fumbled the ball, 84-60, 10:22 to go in the ball game. We've seen it, though. Ask Orlando. They wallop Boston by, what, 47?
Yeah.
And then come back and lose. So you can't go by one game.
Well, points don't carry over. I mean, you know,
they don't.
You know, you don't carry them over. And so you wipe the games clean. You already saw the amount of turnaround that we saw in game 2. I mean, the Cleveland and New York. We saw Houston and Utah. We saw Seattle and Los Angeles.
Yeah.
I mean, and it goes on and on. Orlando with a 54-point turnaround. Excuse me, Boston with a 54-point turnaround.
Back to Boston Garden. You know, they played the last regular season game there, but the Celtic ghosts seem not to want to let the building go away as their team remains in the playoffs, tied at 1 with Orlando. And we have a timeout on the floor. 9:45 to go in the game. 84-60, Chicago. Here's tonight's Dutch boy in the paint. And it's been a pain in the paint for Mourning. 6 points, 5 rebounds, 6 turnovers, and the Bulls' three-headed centers of Longley, Purdue, and Winnington have really done a number tonight.
And the offensive rebound, again, if you're going to go big, you've got to pound the boards, you've got to get to the free throw line, you've got to limit turnovers, so you keep the game in the half court. Charlotte was not able to do that tonight. Chicago quicker to the ball and more emotionally involved. Let's be very honest, Bob. When it comes to this stage of the game, you cannot take the night off emotionally, and it's been a very emotionless, passive game for the Charlotte Hornets. They are going to have to come in here on Thursday night realizing if they don't bring it all, their season is over.
18th Hornets turnover, that one caused by a 3-second lane violation. Bulls by 24. Michael Jordan with 21 points tonight. Hancock finds the open man. It's Pippen. He loses it. Purdue kicks it out. Back to Jordan with 6 on the shot clock. 3 seconds lane violation against Chicago. Chicago content, really, to run clock here with their 24-point lead, even though there's 9 minutes to go. And you see Jordan is still matched up with Bogues.
Really, the only bright spot tonight for Charlotte has been the play of Larry Johnson. He had a big first half, but he's been quiet in second.
Michael Jordan just spinning past Hancock, leaving Hancock flopping on the floor. Jordan lays it in, and he'll go to the line for a 3-point opportunity.
Again, Michael Jordan going to the basket with his left hand. We have seen this all night long. Look at him. He comes, he's going to shake it right, pull it back, and now the finish with the left hand. And this is the greatness of Michael Jordan. You get to the basket, and he can play with either hand around the basket. He can finish. He gets the foul. You know, I talked to Grant Hill earlier in the week, and he told me, he said, you know, the one thing he didn't realize is how strong Michael Jordan is. And one of the things he learned by playing against him is how much stronger that he has to get to be able to take that kind of punishment to finish.
Purdue defending Morning, kicking it back out. Here's Bogues, 10 on the shot clock. Muggsy penetrating. Purdue with the rebound. Muggsy only 2 of 9 tonight. There's an interesting shot. Bullet pass inside. Turpin can't find it.
Scotty, I can't believe I missed that shot.
Morning is fouled. He has been swarmed all night long.
You know, when a team plays great defense, you almost feel like that they have one more man on the floor. It's like they're playing 6 against 5.
There you go. There's the Indiana elimination of Atlanta, 105-89 to win that series in a sweep 3-0. And this game on TBS, our sister network right now, it's underway. 16-13, San Antonio in front of Denver, hoping to eliminate the Nuggets.
I expect that game to be very closely officiated because tempers flared. I think there were $22,500 in fines, a couple flagrant fouls, and then we have Phoenix and Portland. Portland facing elimination. So when you get on the brink, you find out a little bit about how much it means for you to continue your season.
Hancock was shaken up and is on the bench. You're looking at him sitting there now, writhing in some pain as Morning drops the free throw. Looks like it's his right thigh, maybe a thigh bruise. 86-61, Bulls by 25. It was close until 3:23 remained in the second quarter. Jordan follows his own miss.
That was a great pass by Pete Myers. And then the beautiful second effort of Michael Jordan.
Michael Jordan on his toes like a prize fighter early in the bout.
See, you know what's happened is Michael's playing Muggsy Bogues, and he's playing about 6 feet off of him, so he can't penetrate. But Muggsy can't shoot over him either. They closed the passing lanes down, and they've just turned Michael loose to double-team the post and chase the ball, and they'll live with Muggsy Bogues taking jump shots. He's 2 for 9 tonight. Alan Bristol's got a big thing on his hands to figure out what he's going to do offensively. Muggsy only 3 assists tonight, too, and he leads the league in assist-turnover ratio.
Curry with the turnover after Chicago turned it over, missing badly. Collected by Muggsy Bogues. 8 on the shot clock.
There's a double team. Michael's just sort of laying in the lane waiting.
3 on the shot clock.
Muggsy will be the guy giving the shot. Right there it is.
He didn't get the shot off. Violation.
That's what we saw in the 4th quarter of Game 1 when Charlotte had a chance to win the game, and Muggsy missed his last 4 shots. I saw Muggsy before the game. He said, I heard you were tough on me, Doug. And I said, no, Muggsy. All I said was, you were going to have to make that shot if your team was going to win, and you know that was right.
And he did know it was right. Charlotte's 20th turnover, and they're only shooting 40% tonight. So it's been a nightmare all the way around for the Hornets. Kerr had kind of threw up a prayer there. He's off balance. 88-61. The biggest story of this game, once again, is defense and the way the Bulls have played it here tonight, holding the Charlotte Hornets so far to only 61 points. 6:46 remains in Game 3 of the first round Eastern Conference Series between Charlotte and Chicago. 6:46 remaining in the ballgame here at the United Center. Chicago well on their way to controlling Charlotte in game number 3. They'll take a 2-game-to-1 lead. They'll play again here on Thursday night. And you talked about the inside-outside matchup and the significance of this game as we began our broadcast.
Well, Larry Johnson had a big first half. He had 18. He only has 4 in the second. But look, 10. So you got 10 for 20, 11 for 22 from the big guys inside. But look at Jordan, Pippen, Kukoc, all with big numbers. And Scottie Pippen has about 10 assists in the game to go with his rebounds and steals. Total domination by Chicago tonight, but it's only one game. Charlotte came in here with the idea, let's get one and let's extend this series back to Charlotte where we have the home court advantage.
We'll be back here at an 8:30 game, by the way, on Thursday night, which of course will be carrying. We're carrying virtually every single playoff game between TBS, TNT, and NBC this year.
Bob, you might set a record this week. I don't know if there's ever been another announcer that would work 5 straight games, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
It's a new
Are they talking to you about
record.
your importance and your value?
I knew that was going to come from you. It's like a free ticket to me. Bones hits the jumper left a little there. By the way, I say the game starts here at 8:30 Thursday. That's 8:30 Chicago time. It'll be 9:30 Eastern, and it'll be the second part of our TNT doubleheader that night. Had some fascinating games. This one's been dominated by the Bulls, but you and I saw a beauty last night with Cleveland and New York, and of course Seattle and Lakers have an interesting series with Seattle back to the wall, and it'll be interesting to see how the young Orlando team handles the mystique of Boston Gardens. They've struggled on the road all year long, with that series tied at 1 and having lost to Boston in Orlando.
Yeah, and how about if you're Seattle? You're sitting in L.A. right now looking at the ghosts of last year against Denver, and you can say all you want to say, but all you're doing if you're Seattle, say, let's get the game started. We do not want to hear for the next 2 days what went on last year. But you know what? Until they get past that first round, they're going to always hear about it.
Jordan and Hawkins exchanging a few words. Now Mourning talking to Michael.
Did Michael get a technical?
Michael threw Hersey Hawkins down. Now a few words for Alonzo. I got a feeling Alonzo's not in a great mood, Michael.
See, I like Alonzo doing this. I don't want him to go back and smile at Michael Jordan. He doesn't need to smile because Michael's stealing his lunch money right now.
Yeah.
It's like you smile when the series is over. Don't let Michael con you into being his buddy.
Oh, and we have seen that.
Oh, hey, you know.
Jordan throws Hersey Hawkins down.
Oh, he
that's
hit him
the
right with an
previous
elbow.
play.
He got him up with an elbow.
Yeah.
See, Michael, people don't realize Michael's vicious competitor in that post. He's not going to give anything. He'll crack you upside the head before anybody in this league. I'm not saying he's dirty by any stretch of the imagination, but you better be ready to take some punishment against him. This is a reaction by Hersey Hawkins, and he takes it out on Steve Kerr.
Kerr says, whoa.
It's called displaced anger, Bob.
I like that, displaced anger.
And he's flopping by Steve Kerr. He gets the Emmy. Now, Siskel and Ebert, they would give that 2 thumbs down.
Absolutely. So would Collins and Neal. Now a technical foul on Hawkins, who's still angry. There's Siskel. Give us the thumbs up or down there, Gene.
Hey, Michael looked over at me and winked. I know him like a book. I'm telling you, he is absolutely... Look at him talking to Alonzo right now, too.
And he's got the Hornets talking to themselves.
Oh, yeah. You know what? He's that guy that makes you a little tougher than you are by yourself.
You know, we've told the story so many times. It was in the great column by Bob Verdi today, by the way, the Chicago Tribune, about you returning to coaching. Congratulations on that. I know you must have felt good about what he had to say. Well-respected columnist here.
Oh, it was nice. You know, it was nice also, too, Bob, to the people in Chicago. They've been so great to me here. I'm going to miss them, but I tell you what, in Detroit, I want to beat them.
Myers with the jam. Interestingly, Doug, a fellow who is out hawking tickets on our way here to the United Center stops and yells into our cab and says, "Hey, Mr. Collins, welcome back. We'll be competing again."
I know that. It doesn't take long, and you know Detroit and Chicago goes back a long time.
Michael with the Charlotte turnover. 5 minutes to go in this game. Will Perdue kicks it to Kerr for a long 3.
See, I'm really surprised right now that the starters are still in the game. You have Mourning, Scotty, Michael.
Jordan missed the 3, but first a 3-second lane violation. Yeah, you would think that we would be seeing some substitutions here from...
well, here comes Michael right now out of the ball game. Because you know what happens in a game like this? You lose a little bit of your edge. And that's when you have to be very careful that you don't play a step behind. We hear the cheers for Michael Jordan.
Michael Jordan with 25 points tonight. Only a minor indication of his contribution in the game. 6 rebounds and 4 steals. But his double-team defense on Mourning, and you've got to give Phil Jackson credit for using those matchups around in the Charlotte big lineup. That's what really turns the ball game.
That's why you love to have a versatile team. You love to have a Pippen, a Jordan, these guys who can play different positions defensively. Scotty played Muggsy Bogues for a while. Michael played him for a while. And what that does is that shakes up what you want to do offensively. You have to enter the ball different places, and it takes you out of your rhythm. Now as a coach, again, Alan Bristow's got to go back with his staff. He's got to look at the film. This is only one game, but he's got to be concerned, how do we penetrate this Chicago defense? We only have 66 points tonight.
Pippen fills up all the columns tonight. 13 points, 5 rebounds, 9 assists, 1 block, 2 steals. And Doug, tell me the truth. You're already thinking about how you're going to play these Bulls with your Detroit Pistons.
Oh, I'm going to be very honest with you. Since I've decided to get back into it, every game I watch, I think, how am I going to stop these people? Your mind does not shut off.
Larry Johnson got away with an elbow. Gets the shot up. Mourning can't get the shot off. Tempers are flaring. Mourning smiling, though. He knows that this is not the time to...
See, I think if I'm Alan Bristow, I know he wants... I know what he's thinking. I need to get Alonzo a good feeling about finishing this game. But the thing you have to be concerned about is, number one, you don't want him to turn an ankle when you're down 26 points and 4 to go. Or more importantly, you don't want him to get upset and maybe throw an elbow at somebody or take a punch at somebody to where you could get suspended for another game. And I'm not saying Alonzo will do that, but you've already seen some little byplay here at the end of this game, and you got to be very, very careful. We saw that in the San Antonio-Denver game, and that game got out of whack the other day.
Well, you see the story over there in the face of Darren Hancock, who's in some pain, by the way. He has an ice pack on his right thigh. So Alonzo Mourning, 2 for 9 from field goals, 9.7 rebounds, 1 block, 6 turnovers, and a very difficult outing for Alonzo Mourning.
He will bounce back. I have no problem. The problem is going to be with Alan Bristow being able to find him shots and operating room against the Chicago defense. He's got to be able to get him in spots on the floor where he can get some opportunities.
Purdue trying to hand it off, turns it over. Yeah, it's actually knocked out of bounds by Charlotte. It'll be Chicago ball. 92-68, 4:15 to go. Scottie Pippen. And here's the schedule for the series. Game 4, Thursday at Chicago, which we'll have for you on TNT at approximately 9:30 Eastern time. And then Game 5, should they need it, would be Sunday back in Charlotte.
Bob, what is your thoughts about that Orlando-Boston series? You think Orlando's going to be able to win that series, or can Boston close them out at home?
I'll tell you what, I think there will be a lot said. Judd Bushler puts that back in, about Orlando and their ability to go ahead and advance in the playoffs and how they play tomorrow night.
I really believe that from Orlando's standpoint, they're going to have to show they can be effective in a close ball game in the 4th quarter. They really got tight the other night, and if Boston can keep it close, they might be able to steal another game.
Chuck Daly will work with me on that ball game tomorrow.
Now, Chuck will have every restaurant wired for you. You won't have to pay for anything in Boston. He's probably already there tonight scouting it out for you.
He's supposed to be. Purdue kicks it to Myers with 2 on the shot clock. That's a 2. Pete stepped on the line. 3:11 to go in this ball game. Mourning staying in there, and Purdue got his hands out on Mourning.
See, Alonzo got a technical.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm talking about. Allen, get him out of the game right now. See, Will Purdue gave him a little shot in the back, and Alonzo Mourning's not going to step away from that. He's too competitive.
Right. I wouldn't want to be dealing with Alonzo. I wouldn't want to be dealing with him after the ball game.
See, he acted like he was going to throw the ball. Will, that's all frustration. Now, you know, the worst part for Charlotte, they've got to be in Chicago for 2 days and read about how awful they were. That is the worst feeling in the world when you're on the road and they start talking about... I remember a few years ago, Cleveland came into Chicago when they had Doherty and Price and everybody and lost the first game by about 27 points, and all they heard about was how they were marshmallows for about 3 days, and they came out and won game 2.
Well, and Briscoe, who's toughening game by game as a young head coach in the NBA, has Bill Handlick, Johnny Bach on his staff, a good staff of coaches over there. I know Johnny Bach, of course, was an assistant with Doug here in Chicago and one of the better defensive minds in the NBA. Of course, he set the tone for a lot of this Chicago defense we've seen tonight. And Tony Kukoc, there's John, goes to the bench with an outstanding performance, a playoff career high tonight for the Croatian sensation. He had 22 points, 9 of 10 from the field, 5 assists.
Well, it really wasn't Charlotte's defense that got them in trouble tonight. It was Chicago's defense that created offense for them, and that's when Chicago really is at their best.
Corey Blunt getting some late garbage minutes here.
In their championship years, Bob, their defense won the games for them, not their offense. They had the great bailout man in Michael Jordan at the end of the clock, but their defense was to put them in positions to win games.
Judd Bushler out of Arizona feeling it. A couple of baskets here late in the ball game. He had not scored in the playoffs until just then. Charlotte only shooting 42% tonight. Warning is fouled again. Timeout on the floor with 2:32 remaining in the ball game. A lot of people headed for the exit here at the United Center, knowing that their beloved Bulls have the game well in hand. Bulls have it well in hand with a 27-point lead. Doug, Craig Sager just came over and checked some numbers for us and told us this. At 39-37, the score, Jordan was switched on Bogues defensively. Since then, Chicago outscored Charlotte 60-35.
Well, it was a difference. There's no doubt about that. Now, again, it's the job of the Charlotte coaches to try to get together and find a way to free up Alonzo and Larry Johnson so they can work. It might be that Alonzo has to go out on the perimeter and look to be able to shoot some jump shots just to get himself involved in the game. You don't want him living out there. But when he goes with his back to the basket and Michael is playing on Muggsy, he's going to sink back into the passing lane, or they're going to put Pippen and run him back there, and they're going to force Muggsy and David Wingate to make shots.
It's going to be probably a lengthy coaching meeting for Charlotte after this ball game to decide what they want to try to do for the game on Thursday. Alan Bristow said he wanted to go to Alonzo Mourning early, wanted to get him more involved in the game early. Did that with the big lineup. But the Phil Jackson move, as I say, with 39-37, to get Jordan on Bogues, which allowed him to double down, really made a difference.
But you know what? Do you think that Mike Fratello felt worse last night after the game than Alan Bristow does tonight?
Oh, good question. Yes, he felt worse. Mike Fratello did because he had an upset stomach. And because he had a chance to win it at the buzzer.
That's right. Those close losses just eat you alive. This game right here, you know, you can say they kicked us, let's come back. But those close games, as a coach, you beat yourself up at what maybe you could have done to steal 2 more points.
For Cleveland last night, how about the missed free throws late in the ball game? The Mark Price turnover. You know, you go back and you look and you go, boy, if that hadn't happened, that's what the coaches do all night, right?
That's right. It's an 83-point game, and you say, where could we have stolen maybe 2 more possessions?
174 Bulls here, 2:13 to go. Coming up right after this one, we're going out to the West Coast for Phoenix and Portland, with Phoenix leading that series 2-0. It's being played in Portland tonight.
2 minutes to play the ball game.
Jim Durham, Dick Versace will have that for you. Corey Blunt handing off to Steve Kerr.
Hornets ball.
Place will be virtually empty by the time everybody, you know, we're going to lose our reservation at Michael Jordan's restaurant.
Well,
everybody's headed over there already.
The only good thing about that is that the highways will be clear by the time we leave.
Good point. Gaddison hits the jumper. This is just garbage minute. A minute 39 left to play out the string here before these two teams will tee it up again at 9:30 Eastern Time on TNT on Thursday, the second part of our doubleheader that night. Indiana eliminated Atlanta tonight, 105-89. San Antonio and Denver, with San Antonio hoping to eliminate the Nuggets, are tied at 31. That game early in the second quarter.
Bob, I think there was a stat. I can't remember. I'm just going to struggle here with it, but I think so many of the past defending champions, part of their success was that they always swept the first round best of 5.
Yeah.
Because the last champions usually have always won that best of 5 in a sweep.
So move Indiana up on their chart here.
Best road teams with the best point differential. All those things come to play when it comes to playoff time.
Gaddison with the rebound. Under a minute remaining in the ball game. Charles Barkley and company coming up next on TNT against Cliff Robinson and the Portland Trail Blazers in the second game of our doubleheader. We'll be going out there very quickly when this clock runs down. The remaining fans here applauding these Bulls, who have put on a very excellent clinic tonight, as Doug pointed out a couple of times. Pete Myers.
Pistol Pete firing from 3.
33 points from the Chicago bench tonight.
That gives you 1/3 of your points.
And the whistle from Terry Durham. Larry Johnson scored 16 points in the first quarter, then could get only 6 more the rest of the game. Again, after defensive switches took place, ended with 22, and Chicago's had great balance with Jordan 25, Kukoc 22, Pippen 14 and 9 assists and 33 from the bench.
Again, I've always said that with Michael Jordan, if you look at the number of shots he takes and his points, if every shot he takes is worth about 1.5 or better, the Bulls will win. And if you look at game 1, he was at 1.5, and at game 2, he was under 1.3. They won game 1, and tonight, I don't know exactly what it was, but he had 25 points
on 19 shots.
We're talking right about that mark.
The lob to Blunt with 12 seconds left. Crowd begging for Bushler to shoot it. Corey Blunt will. And that'll end the ball game. Final, Chicago 103, Charlotte 80. The Bulls reestablish their dominance in this series and take a 2-1 lead. That's a big comeback coming right off of a 17-point loss at Charlotte. They'll play again at 9:30 Eastern Time on TNT on Thursday night. Our Budweiser player of the game, Tony Kukoc, who had a career playoff high of 22 tonight, 9 of 10 from the floor, and Michael Jordan, Doug, said Tony Kukoc is my personal project.
I wouldn't mind having Michael Jordan as a teacher, and I'm sure Tony's very happy. A little bit like what Magic Johnson did with Vlade Divac when they played together on the Lakers.
Let's find out how he feels. Tony Kukoc with Craig Sager right now.
Well, Bob, Michael Jordan was never critical of his teammates, but he did say he needed some help, and as you mentioned, he did get it from Tony tonight. Tony, what did Michael tell you before this game, or how'd you get more involved?
I said to him that I'm going to be much more active than the last game, that I'm going to have a better game. I didn't have much better game in the first half playing defense against Larry Johnson, but in the second half, I think I played a pretty good defensively and offensively.
Doug Collins mentioned when Alonzo was guarding you, you have the quickness. When Hancock or somebody else hurt Hawkins, you have the height advantage. Do you feel that it's a mismatch that the Bulls should take advantage of in Game 4, too?
Oh, I think I should stay active in the game. Even if MJ and Pip and BJ is in the game, I mean, I have to stay active and help them in both ways, especially offensively.
The score was 39-37 when Michael started guarding Muggsy Bogues. What was that defensive strategy, and how did that change the game?
I guess he went to help. He could help much more guarding the Muggsy Bogues because he's not a big threat offensively. He can score a couple shots, but we can live with that.
It was a great game.
Thank you.
Let's go back to Bob and Doug.
Thanks, Craig. The Croatian sensation. Congratulations, Tony, too. His English getting to be pretty darn good. He really struggled with it when he first came here to play from his days in Yugoslavia and Croatia. 103-80, the final. Doug and I will be back here to wrap it up right after we take this timeout.